If you're a typical Amazon store, you might be getting bombarded with countless, let me audit your account. Here's a free audit. And you might take someone up on that offer. You might be told that your account is an absolute shambles and that if you only followed these 3 to 5 simple steps, everything would be perfect. My friends, that is a myth. Quite frankly, because there is no such thing as a perfect Amazon PPC account. Amazon ads campaigns are in a constant state of optimization. If you get everything just the way that you want it and stop optimizing, then you stop trying things, you stop exploring, you stop pushing it. And a perfect account theoretically takes no risks and never grows. Your competition will leave you in the dust, and by the very nature of that is not a perfect account. You simply need to try new things. You need to retry keywords that you unpause. You need to circle back around to that campaign type that you had difficulty with last year to see if you can get any juice out of it. You need to constantly be asking yourself, where's the next opportunity? And when you test that new opportunity, you'll reflect and improve over time. It's why I found that the number one biggest success factor in any Amazon PPC campaign is activity. If you take 2 Amazon marketers and one knows everything and one knows very little, but the one who knows very little is just active. He gets in there every day. They're thinking about it. They're reflecting it. They're trying to look at the data and try to improve versus someone who knows a lot but doesn't check very often. I'd put my money on the person who's very active. So don't consider a campaign audit to be a singular event where you're going to find 3 things, and if you fix those things, you'll have a perfect account. Because as soon as you fix those things, you'll want to find 3 new things to push forward. If you want to grow, you need to break a few eggs, and PPC can be really messy. This episode's about campaign audits, and I want you to think about audits, reorient the way that you think about it. You should be auditing your own account on a regular basis. If you are a brand, you should pair up with another brand that you're friends with and maybe have your people audit each other's campaigns to see if there's any untapped potential. If you work at an agency, you should be suggesting, hey, what if we did peer-to-peer audits of each other's campaigns? Good example of this is, on this very show, we've created 300 episodes covering lots of different topics. Inside Seller Central, there's nearly 100 screens and tools that you can use to study data, do something new, test something new. There's new things to test, tweak, and explore constantly. So use a campaign audit to ensure that you're not dragging around dead weight, to ensure that you're trying new things, to ensure that you're getting closer to your goals. Today, we'll be talking about campaign audits with a long-term friend of the show, Noemi. She's a talented Amazon PPC marketer, a good friend, and she's making her 5th appearance on the show. It's always great to have her here. I did a quick scan just on YouTube. She's been a part of over 30,000 views of the PPC Den podcast. So thank you so much, Noemi, for being amazing and sharing your thoughts on campaign audits. Let's jump in. What's going on, Badger Nation? Welcome to the PPC Den podcast, the home of the world's first and longest running show designed to make your Amazon ads life a little bit easier and a little bit more profitable. By listening to this show, you're joining thousands of other Amazon marketers and entrepreneurs and brand managers leveling up their Amazon PPC skills. If you'd like to receive an organized list of our episodes grouped by category so you can find the episode you need quickly when you need it, head on over to the link in the description where you can get the Badger Guide to Amazon PPC. It's the best free course in the universe to unleash your inner Badger on your Amazon PPC campaigns. And with that, let's jump into the show. Tell me how many times in a month does the word Amazon PPC audit come up for you?
Daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly.
Really? So yeah. Pretty often. What does it normally entail? Like, are prospects looking for an audit? Are you auditing the accounts that you're actively managing? Talk to me about when this pops up.
Right. So actually this pops up both for like new potential clients that we are trying to see if we're a good fit for, if they are a good fit for us. But mainly actually is like, this is a day-to-day because it's a health check. So as you would go to the doctor, see whatever is going on with you, because you don't supposed to go to the doctor whenever like something like there's a pain, there's a symptom, but rather than, okay, how can I ensure that I'm doing everything right?
I think one thing to think about when it comes to campaign audits, is the whole concept of when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. The person who's doing an audit typically has their own set of experiences. Maybe they've been very good at niche research and keyword selection. Maybe someone's really good at finding holes in a competitive strategy. Maybe someone else is really good at price optimization or A+ content optimization or bidding or budgeting or search term management or campaign structure, so on and so forth. That a lot of times when you do get an audit, it can often be slanted with the individual experience of that person.
Usually we would do this on a weekly and a monthly basis. And as I was saying, really, this is just like an X-ray of whatever is going on in an account. If it's like an account that just came to us, for example, they want to ask for like, what is going on right now with my account? I really want to know like, what was the strategy behind? I really like the fact that you shared, I believe last time when there was like a co-hosting episode with two more guys about like PPC management and so on. And you so nicely put it out, like whatever you're looking for, that's what you're going to find, you know? And then based on that, actually is like, if I'm looking for how much bidding you have, that's what I'm going to find. If I'm looking for what was the strategy for the last month, that's what I'm going to find. If I'm looking for, was it a product launch, that's what I'm going to find. So I can position it rather than you launched a new product. There was no data, there was like nothing in the back, you know, you like to talk about ACOS power ratio. So there would be a highly likely chance for those ads to not convert just because I'm just new to the market or I might not be a good fit in the market, you know. Something that is really important is like understanding why would you do this? Because if you don't get the why, you're not going to do it. And it doesn't matter like, you know. So two main things. We're doing it to prevent and also to expand. So what we're going to prevent is exactly as you were saying, you would pull up datas and we are going to go through exactly reports and so on. To prevent, we want to know like to detect really discrepancies between the real data and the story behind the apparent success. Because sometimes it might be that this account is totally successful. I have no clue why, you know, what drives success? Is it brand recognition? Is it external traffic? Is it that they did ranking campaign really well and they didn't know what they were doing, but actually worked well? Is it they ran a lot of sponsor brand video ads and actually they are excelling, but if you would start sponsor products, actually they are not going to convert the same way. So understanding the why and where are the discrepancies, because then be like located, like a doctor would be like, where does it hurt?
I love what Noemi says here. It's something that I try to teach everyone who works at AdBadger, which is when it comes to digital marketing, especially PPC, it's not purely a numeric quantitative exercise. There is a lot of story and perception that goes into PPC. And I love that one of her first points here is actually to acknowledge that. To listen to what someone is saying. If they're saying, I'm struggling with competition, I'm struggling to launch, I'm struggling to get my profitability under control, whatever that is the purpose of the audit, right? We're trying to uncover things that are standing in our way. So if the issue is I'm struggling with low conversion rate, that should direct the focus of what we're trying to uncover. So in some ways, a generalized audit is good in the sense of, you know, pre-flight checklist, but to really sort of grow, if you think about it, an audit should really be customized for whatever that particular business is trying to achieve. You know, how often am I asked a question, which is, you know, what is a good PPC account versus a bad one? What's a good ACOS versus a bad one? So on and so forth. And really the answer is, well, it kind of depends on the business's goal. You know, how many clicks should you let a search term go before you turn it into a negative or things like that? It's same thing with problems that you're trying to identify in an audit. So I really love that Noemi brings this up as a very first point. One really interesting thing is that when people think of a campaign audit, they generally think of, let me tell you everything that's wrong. And if you think about it, it's actually incomplete to focus only on the things that are wrong. As part of an audit, you should actually be looking at what are the very best, most successful parts of the account and how can you maximize that? How could you get even more out of it? How could you expand that? Typically, it is easier, and you can ask 9 out of 10 marketers, I'm sure they will all agree, is it easier to fix something that is not working Or is it easier to boost something that is working another 10, 20, 30%? Most people would agree if you have your very best products, you can probably push them further and get more revenue and profit than taking your least profitable product and trying to make it profitable. So I love the fact here that Noemi's about to get into expanding what works, which again, rethinking what a campaign audit really is. It's not a gotcha moment we're trying to create. We're trying to grow, right? So like connecting the goals from earlier and then focusing on what is working really well and how do we get more of that happening. Typically, one of the very best marketing strategies is more. So how do you get more of all that good stuff happening inside your account?
And then when we're going to the expanding part, we are going to be really expanding successful campaigns, basically. So whatever worked already, we're going to double down on that. If the campaign worked well, we're going to look into like, why did it work well? What works well? Is it the placement? Is it the CPC? Is it like whatever it is, because I am sure that you are like out of most people, since you're coming across so many accounts, you know clearly that bid optimization is just one step, but you can over optimize the bids and under optimize the bids. And whatever is happening usually most of the time is people are not aware that whenever they're optimizing, they might be under or over optimizing, which means a different placement. So it might be that for rest of search, you convert it really well. And you think, okay, I'm converting well, I'm going to up my bids. And then you're showing up at top of search and it's like, ooh, I'm losing money, It can be the opposite things as well, But like really understanding like what worked well and then mimic that and then duplicate that would be. And then next thing, whenever I'm talking too fast and so on, you see like some of the ideas that I jotted down, just feel free to stop me because I feel like this is powerful. And it's like, oh, by the way, this is Thursday morning at 10 o'clock a.m., guys. So let's go. All right, so addressing some of the budget issues here as well, like when it comes to expanding. Again, yesterday we just had a conversation about, hey, we are increasing the bids, but did we increase the budget? And we didn't increase the budget. And you will see like, Noemi, what a freaking beginner mistake. And yeah, it's a mistake because there's no clear process in place on you're increasing the bids, you're also going to increase the campaign budget, so those kind of things. Eliminating underperforming keywords that waste budget over time. This is, again, has to do with whatever is not working well, whatever is not part of the strategy already, let's pause it. And here, like many people are like, oh no, reduce the bids. I'm like, no, if it's not part of the strategy, why would you spend even 1 cent on it? And here, like, I'm going to get a lot of negative feedback on that, and I'm fine. Certain things that I'm okay to be like more soft on it. There are certain things that are like, no, if it's not part of the strategy, what I've proved for the past 5 years, those were just bleeding keywords still, even if it's 1 cent, and if it counts for me, it counts. Again, like this is different. It can have, like everyone can say like it's in a different way. This is our process. And when it comes also to expanding is really highlighting your top performing keywords. It's really, really important because what is going to happen is that you think that you're doing well, you're starting optimizing, and then you're more ACOS focused than TACOS focused. And once that you've done that is you're starting optimizing in such a way that you're not even more paying attention to the keywords that you're ranking the highest for because you think that you conquered them. When in fact, actually you didn't. If you're not conquering means to take it away and stay there and don't move. Most people are like, here's my keyword. I'm ranking top 5 on it, or I'm on the first page within the top first placements, and I'm going to stay there. You're not going to stay there. The competition, they're going to sell so much, or they're going to find you, they're going to find your keyword. Because this is how we do it. We are finding their keywords, and then we're dominating on their keywords. So it would be like absurd or childish to think that they're not going to take back the market share, because you're fighting. It's a fight. It's a war for eyeballs, basically. And then the very last thing when it comes to expanding is really checking if competitors are overranking your best keywords. This has to do a lot with the previous strategy. It's just really being conscious of these are the 5 keywords, no one can compete on them. Just really like, I'm going to own them and always I'm going to keep on them. Yes, and this is how my amazing, manager, influencer managers, yes. And this is going to conclude my TEDx talk.
One part of the audit process that I personally love is understanding the composition of an account. Where is the ad spend being spent? And what's the composition and performance of that particular ad spend cohort. A couple weeks ago, I did an episode that I called the Interstellar Amazon PPC Manager, where we basically talked about a report that you can fill out and basically go on vacation. You know, the fun activity that I did was like, imagine you're going to Mars and you can't manage your account and you needed a report to give you the pulse of everything so that you can send your team instructions. So basically what it looks like is it's a week by week report, and then on it are many columns that tell you about the composition of the account. So eventually, you know, you're looking at ad spend per week. You're looking at ad revenue per week and the ACOS, total business revenue, the ad cost to total sales, and organic revenue. Then all of a sudden you have a sort of compositional breakout. So I know how much I'm spending, the performance of the ad spend, as well as the performance of the ad spend in relation to total overall sales. And then beyond that, you can begin to incorporate, well, total business net proceeds. Some people call this profit. Sponsored product ad spend, sponsored product ad revenue, sponsored product ACOS, sponsored brand ad spend, sponsored brand revenue, sponsored brand ACOS, sponsored display ACOS, ad spend with no orders, ad spend with orders, ACOS power ratio, amount of negative keywords, amount of positive keywords, you know, amount of keywords with 0 orders, 1 order, 2 orders, so on and so forth. Placement information. So basically, if you see what I have on the screen here, this is from an episode we did a couple weeks ago about the Interstellar Amazon PPC Manager. I love the idea of an audit simply listing the composition of the account. Because what you might discover, you know, at the highest level, it might be, oh, we're not spending anything on sponsored brands. That's easy. That's like a low-hanging fruit. Let's go take our very best keywords from sponsored products, very best products from sponsored products, and pump that into a sponsored brand strategy. So simply having the composition in front of you is one of the easiest ways to determine where the next big opportunity is and find any gaps that you might have.
And I think a full account, like, is it a full account audit? Is it a SKU level audit? Because then the data is going to be very different. So if it's a full account audit, then the overall general, here, click on this, get my free account audit, that is going to be applicable. So we're going to look into detect really discrepancies and again, really understanding what is going on right now, you know, with the data, and then where are you? What is your percentage of the ad types that you're running? And then which are the things that you actually want to achieve with this account? Do you want to go for profitability? Do you want to go for scalability? Because that is going to really be helpful on how do you give feedback. It's like you're going to the doctor and they're asking you 50 questions until they're going to identify whatever is going on, you know? So the same way you would do it on a full account level, you probably have the data pulled off the business reports and you can see clearly this is the top performing product, but you want to hear it from them. Which one do they think that is the top performing product? Which one do they think that it's the best keyword for them and so on? Because then you will acknowledge the education gap, or like where you are with your, like, I see already the future, but you are still 3 steps behind me. And my sole purpose with this audit is to make you understand that this is where you want to arrive and this is where you are. And these are the things, the next steps that should be done. Did that answer your question when it comes to like the full account audit, or does this like gives a better understanding on how I see the full account audit process? I'm going to give also for the SKU level audit process.
Yeah, I'm curious, you know, we focus on the mentality of like things to pay attention to, like the qualities of what we are trying to identify. One question I have for you is, what is the format of the audits that you do? Meaning, like, what is produced at the end, and like, what are the metrics that get discussed? What are the tangible pieces that you're looking for?
So I'm looking at the health of the account and the efficiency of the account. One is like, as I was saying, campaign type distributions, SP, SB, SD, how many of those and what is the distribution? Because then it's going to guarantee to help me understand like what is going on in your account. As I was saying, the example, what we noticed as sponsor product based or heavily reliant brands, they are ranking better. Sponsor brand reliant brands, they have brand recognition, they have maybe cheaper solution of how to like get sales, but we're going to have a very hard time on ranking them on specific keywords. So looking into like how is distributed this between the campaign types. The second is going to be reliance between auto and manual. How many auto ads they are running, how many manual. What is bringing the most for the account? If there's auto and it works well for them, we will see, okay, which were the strategies that actually they were applying in auto, so we can replicate. I'm not going to, you're not running any manual ads and so on, because this is what I did beforehand, and actually started running manual ads and actually created the gap and like, oh, okay, I should have taken a step back just because XYZ told me, why are you not running exact match? So looking into like how reliant are they on auto and then manual, then also reliance on non-branded versus branded keyword, because that is again going to tell me like, okay, did you actually maximize the efficiency of the account? Did you increase the revenue of the account, or what did you actually did already? Because they're also like, it was a brand, they are like amazing, and it is just like a drink that is behind like a big influencer, and this is the broadest as possible. Right now it's like just lapsus something, but the idea is that they are heavily reliant on branded terms and on sponsored brand video ads. Sponsored product is not working for them, and when we tried doing that, actually the account suffered, they took a loss. So based on that, we realized that the competitiveness of this niche, of this market is so high that actually it makes more sense for us to run branded ads on Amazon and maybe try Facebook, Google Ads, whatsoever, So understanding that, how reliant are they on branded versus non-branded. Also CPA, when it comes to on account or product level. So let's see what is the cost per acquisition, because that's going to showcase us, okay, on this position, like on this placement, this is how much it costs you, like on which placement. Like understanding that is going to be really important. So cost per acquisition for each placement. Then the fifth thing is going to be spending percentage distribution for multiple SKU accounts. So for example, here, if we are not sure of which is actually the SKU that is going to perform well. Let's see its sizing variations. Let's see its color variations. We want to know that, so we would not be creating for each campaign, like for each size, its own campaign, but we're throwing all the product itself, and then we're seeing, okay, what works, and then which one should we keep, which one should we build different ads for, and which one should we pause. That is a health check. Does it make sense?
Yeah, so the metrics here are really campaign structure percentages to get a pulse on how much are we spending on each campaign type, sponsored product, sponsored brand, sponsored display, and then also break that down in auto versus manual, assess the performance of those things so you can know where to focus, right? I imagine if you had like, ACOS and sales via auto sponsored products, manual sponsored products, it would help clue you in terms of where to focus, where the account is doing well, where it's lagging behind. Branded versus non-branded traffic. For you, is that a search term level report, like a performance of search terms with your branded term in it, performance of search terms without your branded term in it?
Yes. Whenever the brand name shows up, even if it's like a longer tail keyword, even if it's like only one word from the brand, it's considered branded.
And that gives you a good pulse check too of like, is the account being propped up only with branded performance? Like you might discover your non-branded performance is like 300% ACOS and it's just being propped up by a 2% branded traffic, 2% right. ACOS branded traffic. And then of course, spend breakdown per SKU. I really like to, again, I would go even further, like spend and performance breakdown for each SKU, just to see like where are we spending the most on our products, what's the performance of those products, are there any products that we perhaps need to turn down and dedicate towards somewhere else. So a really good pulse check here, and what I also like about it is it's not too long, right? These are like 10 metrics or so that we've just mentioned.
Only 5, that's the best thing. So it's like quick, you can remember that. By the way, I do also have like, this is just the health of whatever is going on, but I also have for efficiency. So we're checking on, is efficient whatever we're doing? Because it's not enough to see that, okay, this is healthy, what now? Because that is like checked. But we would look also, is this efficient? So we would look at the top 5 spending campaigns to see like, how are they spending? Where is our really like the budget goes mainly from the whole, and then the top 5 keywords, where do we rank for that one? Do we still gain the same like momentum for it as we did a month ago? So then we can link that back to what I was saying about, is my competitor trying to conquer my keyword, basically. We're also going to look at the non-converting keywords. And here, actually, I would highly suggest whoever is listening to this episode to go through Mike's ACOS power ratio so they can understand better of whatever is going on when it comes to non-converting, because non-converting can be that is not relevant to you, but it can be also that actually it's highly relevant keyword for you and you're still not converting. So it can do with the fact that it's a very competitive keyword and either an image, main image, or something is off your listing, so that might be the reason why it's not converting. And then also we would look into keywords with over 100% ACOS. This is purely PPC metric. It's not overall account, so we're not looking at tacos, but everything that is over 100% ACOS that don't have the purpose for ranking, but have a high ACOS only, we would be just like maximizing the bidding for that. And if it's still like within the strategy, would keep them on. But if it's not within the strategy, you're spending money on something that is not strategically right, basically. And then the very last one here is going to be keywords with over 100% ACOS that have the purpose for ranking, but have a high ACOS. So there are keywords that don't have the purpose for ranking, and there are keywords that have the purpose for ranking. So based on that, we would do the differentiation, because if it has no purpose, why it's still on, It doesn't matter if it's 1 cent, you are still losing 1 cent on something that is not strategically made. So health and efficiency.
Tell me about the last campaign audit you did. Let's finish just with like the last campaign audit you did. You ran through this and, you're looking at performance by campaign type, performance by targeting type, performance from branded versus non-branded. Tell me the last campaign audit, like what you learned from it. Or what were the results of that audit?
It actually was for an account that they quote unquote launch their product for the past 5 months and they didn't have sales. And actually that was one of the cases that I took over the account. They were working previously with a different agency. The other agency took like 10% of what we were charging. And then honestly, I took over the account just because I've seen that there's a strategic mistake inside. And the strategic mistake was that if you're launching your product and if you are an agency and if you know how to do, because that's the thing, they did great when it comes to, because they did full account management. We are doing only PPC account management. So based on that, what I've seen that they were highly specialized on catalog, creatives, and maybe inventory management. They were not specialized on PPC.
Yeah. So what KPI did you realize that? Like, was it the campaign structure breakdown, the brand versus non-branded traffic? Like, what metric did you realize that?
Yeah, there were no sales and you're launching and you invested like $5,000 in all the creatives and so on, and you have no sales because you have no traffic. So kind of like it was like a strategic mistake that if you know that a brand is launching and you are not pushing PPC to see actually how is the product that you work on so long going to perform, I see it as a strategic mistake on your end, And I was saying, okay, this is what I'm seeing on my end. I see that the other agents actually did amazingly when it comes to this aspect. You hired them for XYZ. They did not deliver on XYZ, and this is my proof, And they were like, yeah, it makes sense, And the idea is not really to take over other accounts, but like if you see that they're a good fit, they're looking for they're looking for a doctor, and they're like quacks, or how do you call it? That they're like, oh, I can do this, of course, It's like me offering at my first month of. I understand PPC now, and I can create your campaigns and so on. And I do auto, So I'm mocking really the intelligence of someone who does not experience 5 years of troubleshooting. Make sense? So, but that was my takeaway, And you were asking like, which were the metrics? Those were the metrics, and I hope that you also appreciate my sincerity, because usually I would have not shared that actually we took over an account this way by account audit. But did that make sense? Like, why did I want to share?
Where do you think the next evolution of your campaign audit process exists? Like, how can you make your account audit process a little bit stronger, a little bit more efficient?
Listening whatever the brand wants and not pushing whatever I want. Because I noticed that that's something that is common mistake in advertising on, this is what I see, this is what you should do. It's like, you told me that you want to focus on product on ASIN 1, I focused on ASIN 2. I delivered amazing results, but ASIN 1, it's still suffering because I did not deliver. So listening, I believe, it seems that like totally not all, like audit type of things, but it's like, I believe that if you don't have that, does not matter how much information you bring, because it's like you're just investing time and effort, and your team's time and effort is something that is not going to convert on helping a client to partner with you, or like helping your own client that's already your partner to be successful.
Awesome. So Noemi, where can people get in touch with you if they have more questions about your audit process?
Hit me on LinkedIn. I am on LinkedIn. I love to chat. I love to post a lot of basic fundamental stuff. I'm being called out on that a lot of the time, and like so many like, this is how you could do it. I was like, yes, I was sharing basics. So do check out my LinkedIn. It's Noemi Bolojan, Noemi Bolojan. That is Noemi Bolojan. On LinkedIn, just find me and just like befriend me. You can say also like, hey, I was listening to your podcast, and then I can make the connection of like whichever your interest would be, or just say hello.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Noemi. Have a good one. And I'll see you next time here on the PPC Den podcast.